It's 2:17 a.m. Your phone lights up the dark room. Not a call, not a message, just their name still sitting in your contacts. You haven't spoken in weeks, maybe months, and yet somehow they're still here. In your head, in your chest, in the quiet moments you didn't expect. And you keep thinking, why do I still care this much? Do they ever think about me? Did I mean anything? Or was I just convenient? Why do I miss someone who made me feel so alone? If they came back, would anything actually change? Here's the truth most people get completely wrong. Avoidants don't stay away because they don't feel anything. They stay away because they feel too much and don't know what to do with it. You're not crazy for missing them. You're not weak for wondering. And by the end of this, you're going to understand exactly what's happening inside their mind before they ever decide to come back. Most couples believe that when someone pulls away, it means they've lost interest. But the real truth is, pulling away is often how avoidants try to manage how much they care. Because here's what nobody explains. When connection starts to feel intense, their nervous system doesn't read it as love. It reads it as pressure. Not because you did something wrong, but because beneath the surface, closeness feels like losing control. So what looks like distance is actually protection. What looks like indifference is often overwhelm. And this is where it gets really interesting. Avoidants don't just randomly come back. They go through a quiet internal process before they reconnect. A tension between longing and fear. And once you see that clearly, you stop taking their silence personally and start understanding what's really happening. Most people think avoidants feel relief after leaving. But the truth is, distance gives them something they didn't have before. Space to think. Space to breathe. And in that space, something uncomfortable happens. Clarity. They start replaying things, not the way they did in the moment, but slower, softer, and a thought begins to form. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe it wasn't too much. Maybe I just didn't know how to handle it. Because when their nervous system finally settles, the version of you they pushed away doesn't feel as overwhelming anymore. It feels human. And that's when the wall they built starts to weaken without them even realizing it. Here's the part no one talks about. Avoidants expect distance to erase feelings, but instead it exposes them. Because when you're gone, there's no tension left to react to. No pressure to escape. Just silence. And in that silence, something rises. Not loudly, not dramatically, but persistently. They start to feel your absence in places they didn't expect. A song, a routine, a quiet evening. And suddenly they're thinking, if I'm better off alone, why does this still feel like something is missing? That question doesn't give them peace. It pulls them back toward you in a way they can't logically explain. Most couples think avoidants don't value the relationship, but the truth is, they often recognize its value only after it's gone. Because when they were in it, Their focus was on managing the intensity, not appreciating the connection. But now, without you, they start comparing. Not you to someone else, but you to everything else. And nothing quite matches what you gave them. The presence, the understanding, the way you saw them beneath the surface. And something inside them quietly admits, no one felt like that. No one understood me like they did. And that realization doesn't feel light. It feels heavy. It feels like something they might have lost. But this is where it gets real. Because it's not just about missing you. It's about facing themselves. They start asking questions they avoided before. What if I mess it up again? What if I can't show up differently? Because deep down, they know it wasn't just the relationship. It was how they handled it. And this is the moment most people never see. The moment an avoidant starts taking responsibility, even if they don't say it out loud. Not blaming, not running. Just quietly recognizing, I didn't know how to stay when things got real. And that awareness doesn't fix everything, but it changes everything. Most people assume avoidants don't care if you move on. But that's not true. They care more than they're comfortable admitting. Because now the distance they created doesn't feel like control anymore. It feels like risk. They don't know where they stand with you. They don't know if they still have access to you. And that uncertainty unsettles them. They start wondering, would they even take me back? Not from ego, from vulnerability. The kind they've spent most of their life avoiding. And for the first time, they feel what it's like to not be in control of the connection. And that humbles them in a way that brings them closer to reaching out. Then something shifts. Not louder conversations, not more effort, not pretending everything will be different, but a quiet realization. If I go back, I can't be the same version of me. This isn't about trying harder. It's about becoming different. Because they see now that distance didn't solve anything. It just delayed everything. And something inside them starts to say, if I don't change how I show up, I'll lose this again. And that thought doesn't scare them away this time. It anchors them. It makes them consider connection in a way they couldn't before. And this is the moment everything changes. Not when they feel fully ready, not when all fear disappears, but when something becomes more important than their need to escape. They're still scared, still unsure, still figuring it out. But there's a quiet sentence forming inside them. I don't want to lose this again. And that sentence carries more weight than all the distance they created. Because now they're not choosing space. They're choosing possibility. Not perfection. Not certainty. Just a willingness to try. And that's where reconnection actually begins. And when you understand all of this, you stop chasing mixed signals. You stop trying to decode silence. You start seeing the difference between someone who is just lonely and someone who is actually reflected. Because this isn't about waiting for someone to come back. It's about recognizing who they've become If they do, you become someone who doesn't just want connection, but understands what it takes to hold it. This isn't a checklist. It's a shift in how you see people, how you see yourself, and how you show up in love. Because at the end of the day, reconnection isn't about going back to what was. It's about deciding if both of you are finally ready to build something real.